Good morning, Mega Podlings. It's Crazy Joe. It is Wednesday. It is Crazy After Dark time. How are you? I hope everyone's having a great week. This is one heck of a week, I gotta say. To be a fan of movies and cinema, this has been kind of an exciting week, at least for me. We're only halfway through, but I'm happy this week. I really like the way things have been going. I see Gary Reed is here. I see Joey Baseball is here. I see I Want My Slaw is here. Welcome, guys. I Want My Slaw says, "Hey, Cracky Joe." Well, it was actually just Cracky. It wasn't even Crazy Joe. It was Cracky Joe. It was just Cracky, and it was spelled Kraky. That was how Billy D. Williams, Billy D., signed the word Cracky. But welcome to the party, Crazy After Dark, for January 15th. Wow, I'm just excited about what's been going on in the world of cinema this week. One thing I don't know that I can talk about yet because I don't want to spoil things for those who haven't seen it, but the events of last night's Crisis on Infinite Earth, I can't stop thinking about them. I'm so excited about what transpired on Crisis on Infinite Earth last night. It was amazing. And I think it's going to have quite a few ramifications going forward. I discussed that in my video. By the way, to those of you who haven't seen my video, and for those of you who haven't seen the post on the community tab, I'm going to be changing the title of my video tomorrow. It's gonna reveal the spoiler. Tomorrow it's going to reveal the spoiler for a couple reasons. Number one, it seems like I'm the only one on the internet trying to preserve the spoiler. Everyone is just out with it. It is everywhere. Just headlines. Like, you can't avoid it. Like, headline, blank happened on Arrow last night. So the spoiler is very well known at this point. And number two, I just think more people will find my video because it really discusses the ramifications of that spoiler. So I think people who are interested in that kind of a video want to hear speculation on that. If I don't have the keywords in the title, they're not going to find my video. So I think just for making more people see the video, I have to change the title to have the spoiler in it. But I'm waiting 24 hours. I want to make sure enough people get a chance to see it so that it's probably going to be spoiled for Oreo already because people are spoiling it. I just don't want to be the guy who did it. So there we go. Movie Hunter is here. Gary Reed, Joe, I'm not wearing a red shirt. Fizzgig is here. Joey Baseball says, am I upset about the no Quentin Tarantino Star Trek? Okay, well, I do have to correct you on that. We probably are still getting Quentin Tarantino's Star Trek. The thing you got to remember is Quentin Tarantino had an idea for Star Trek, took it to Paramount. Paramount liked it. They had a script written. The question was never, was the movie going to happen? From everything we've been hearing from Paramount, the movie probably is going to happen. The question was always, will Tarantino direct it? And yeah, now Tarantino's saying he's not going to direct it, which I think is a shame. I think that's a real shame because we basically have one shot and one shot only to find out what a Quentin Tarantino Star Trek movie would be. I really wanted to see what a Tarantino Star Trek movie could be. And we'll always wonder. We'll always, for the rest of our lives, wonder what that would have been. It's like sort of, if you ever saw the documentary, The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened? We'll never see that Nicolas Cage Superman movie. And I kind of wish we could. It's a curiosity. We always know it was one of these things that could have happened. It almost happened. And we'll never get to see it. And it's a shame with Tarantino's Star Trek because, good or bad, I wanted to see what it was going to be. And we're still probably going to see the movie. But it's not going to be directed by Tarantino, which loses something. However, one of my favorite Tarantino movies wasn't directed by Tarantino. It's True Romance, directed by Tony Scott. It still feels like a Tarantino movie. So I don't know. I think I think it'll be interesting. I think we're still going to see the movie. It'll probably just be, story by Quentin Tarantino, produced by Quentin Tarantino, not directed by. And that was always the question. Will he or won't he direct the movie? But it looks like the movie still has heat behind it at Paramount. He just may not be sitting in the director's chair. Bohemian Movie says, Crazy Joe, hope you're having a good week. John Hickey is here. Greg's Game Room is here. He says, what's up, Cracky? And Greg spelled Cracky wrong, too. It's C-R-A-K-Y. That's how old Billy D spells it. C-R-A-K-Y. Backwin says, the It miniseries from the 80s is worth watching, mainly because of Tim Curry as Pennywise. Aubrey says, good evening. Hello, Aubrey. Good to see you. Joey Baseball says, the part about Crisis on Infinite Earth that shocked me the most is when J.K. Simmons appeared as J. Jonah Jameson in the credits. Wouldn't that have been something? Gary says, have I heard that Seth MacFarlane signed a 5-year, $200 million deal with NBC? All his shows on Fox are still going to go, but the new stuff will be made under the NBCU banner. Yeah, I did hear that. The thing is, I'm not really so much a Seth MacFarlane fan. I loved Family Guy back in the day, but I don't think Family Guy's been really that good for a long time. I think he kind of, he did too many shows. He was doing American Dad, he was doing the Cleveland Show, and I think he kind of spread himself too thin. I don't know. I don't think Family Guy's what it used to be. The Orville has so much potential, but it's content to just rehash previously existing Star Trek scripts. Like every episode of The Orville, you can point to and say, oh, that's the episode Justice where Wesley fell in the flowers. Oh, that's the episode of, that's for The World is Hollow and I've Touched the Sky. Like every episode. Oh, that's The Child where Troy, had the baby. Oh, they did the Ponfar episode, but instead of going through Ponfar, what's his name? The Mocklin had to pee. It's like every episode you can see, and some people go, well, it's homage. And it's like, well, homage only takes it so far. When you've written like 22 episodes and every single one of them is an homage of an exact existing story, eventually it just becomes lazy writing. So I think this show has so much potential, but it really, really, really needs some creativity. It really needs to find an original idea somewhere. Greg's Game Room says, thank God there was no Nicolas Cage movie. That would have been awful. Maybe, but wouldn't you have liked to have seen it? Like, I would have loved to have seen it. It's one of those things where it's like, I'd love to see it. White Trash Jedi's in the room. John Hickey says, do I have an address or a P.O. box? John Hickey, I've been thinking about getting a P.O. box, but I don't have one yet. So my advice would be is if you got something you need to send to me, try sending it to Cinema Sickness's P.O. box, because I'm there bi-weekly. I can get it from him, but I do need to get a P.O. box. I just don't have one yet. So stay tuned. But in the meantime, I know people have sent Rick stuff, and someone sent me some stuff too there. So yeah, you can just send stuff to Cinema Sickness's house. I'll get it there. Or his P.O. box, I mean. Brent says, am I going to see the Mulan live-action movie this year? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I live with 3 women who are obsessed with Disney princesses. There's no way I won't be seeing the new Mulan. Yeah, absolutely. James Borland says favorite episode of the Batman animated series. Okay, well that is pretty easy. It's got to be the one where they did like the Legends of the Dark Knight and they did the different takes, and the last one was Joel Schumacher and they did the Frank Miller. That was a great episode. Joey says, have I seen the Baby Yoda toys that come out spring of 2020? We have a pre-order already for the Baby Yoda doll. 2 of them, in fact. 2 of them. Let's see. Donnie says, I enjoyed the Orville. Can definitely see room for improvement. Or at least I wasn't the only one who could recognize Star Trek ideas in it. Oh my God, Donnie, it's like every episode. Every single damn episode is just a blatant ripoff of a Star Trek episode. I've watched every episode. Like, I keep watching the show. Like, I see potential there. Like, I look at it and I'm like, you've got something here. You're just not delivering. However, I'm very lenient because if we remember, Star Trek The Next Generation was terrible its first 2 seasons. It wasn't until season. I mean, they threw out a gem every now and then, like Measure of a Man, Conspiracy. It's not like there were no good episodes in season 1 and 2 of Next Generation, but generally speaking, season 1 and 2 of Next Generation was painful. So I'm giving them their leeway. Find your feet. Find your feet. Hopefully. And another problem is Seth MacFarlane made himself the captain. He's not that good of an actor, quite frankly. And the show isn't really a comedy. I mean, it's got comedy in it, but it's not really like a comedy show. So he can't pull off the drama, quite frankly. Jamel says, how was your day? My day was good. How was your day, Jamel? Backwin says, personally, I'm not into a lot of the humor in the show, but in my opinion, South Park is how you do a really good adult comedy series. I kind of think that South Park kind of outlived itself a little too much, though. Like, I mean, like, it was good, but I think it's gone on too. At that time, so a lot of shows. Same thing with The Simpsons. Same thing with Family Guy. I think some of these shows just outlive themselves, quite frankly. Gary Reed says South Park hasn't been good for the last few years. The 2016 election killed them. Backwin says Rick and Morty is extremely hilarious. You know, I still haven't seen a single episode of season 4 of Rick and Morty. I like Rick and Morty. They're on my DVR. I just haven't gotten to them yet. Bohemian says Build-A-Bear is doing a Baby Yoda doll. Yes, that is big news in my house. The kids are excited. Kids are very excited. James says, Joe, hang on. James Borland says, hey, Joe, have you seen Daddy Daycare and Back to School and 9? I've seen Back to School. I have not seen the others. Greg says Orville is a parody of Star Trek. You can't parody if you don't do similar episodes. But that's just it, though, Greg. It's not really a parody. Because Seth MacFarlane has said himself in interviews, he wants less focus on the comedy. He wants more emphasis on the sci-fi. He's really trying to do it both ways. And I don't think it's really working because it's just coming off as a ripoff. I mean, if the show was laugh out loud funny, then you could say, oh, it's a comedy. But he's actually, especially in season 2, these are his words, not mine. He toned down the humor. He didn't want it to be as funny. He wanted to focus on the sci-fi. So I don't know. Joey Baseball says Shatner isn't that good of an actor either. You bite your tongue. Shatner is a god amongst men. Shatner is a god amongst men. Your claims against Shatner are nothing but a scam. That's what I say to you. Sam Haskell says, do I work Monday? I do work Monday. I don't, but a lot of people do, even though it's MLK Day. Yeah, I do work Monday, unfortunately. I'm off Thursday, though. Not for the most exciting of reasons. I have a doctor's appointment, but I'm off Thursday. But Thursday is also the day Star Trek Picard premieres. I'm very excited for Star Trek Picard. So I'm ready. I'm ready for Picard. Bring it on. I watched Patrick Stewart get his handprints the other day. I'm very excited. Aubrey says Bob Burgers is where it's at. I've seen one episode of Bob's Burgers, and I could not get into it. But I know a lot of people do love it. Backwin says, I think we can all agree that Code of Honor was such a bad episode. Ironically, it was the first episode I ever watched of the series. Yes, Code of Honor is not good. Code of Honor is not a good episode. But what do you call it? Next Generation did get much, much better, starting in season 3. Oddly enough, you know when Next Generation got really good? When Gene Roddenberry stepped away. Gene Roddenberry was the showrunner for seasons 1 and 2. Those were the 2 weakest seasons. When he left and Rick Berman took over, that's when the show got good. I gotta say, it's not a popular opinion, but I think it's true. I mean, sometimes you gotta say what's true, whether people want to hear it or not. But the truth is, I think Gene Roddenberry he came up with the idea of Star Trek, and it was a great idea. But I don't think Star Trek was at its best when Gene Roddenberry was writing it. I think Gene Roddenberry, in some ways, kind of hampered Star Trek. If you heard like some of his visions for the Next Generation, some of the rules he had, they were always trying to find ways to circumvent Gene's rules because it did not lead to good storytelling. Like he said, none of the cast members could have, the crew of the Enterprise could have no conflicts amongst themselves. Well, that wasn't the case on the original series, but it's not that wasn't the original series. There were conflicts among the crew. But Next Generation, no conflicts with the crew. That's why Deep Space Nine and Voyager tried to intentionally find ways to get around that. That's why Deep Space Nine had characters who weren't Starfleet. Like the Bajoran militia was there. Major Kira was a member of the Bajoran militia. Odo was a member of the Bajoran militia. And then you had characters like Quark and Garrick who weren't crew members. That was all to get around Gene's rule that the crew could not have conflicts amongst themselves. Because by having these guys who weren't technically Starfleet, they could skirt around that. And that's why with Voyager, half the crew was from the Maquis. It was to get around Gene's rules. Because Gene's rules stood in the way of good drama, unfortunately. Let's see. Gary Reed says Shatner is love. William Shatner is life. I agree. Lisa says, haven't been able to get into Bless the Hearts. I don't know what Bless the Hearts is, honestly. Joey says, how has my tooth been? You mean my fake tooth? The fake tooth that I got just before Dragon Con? It's doing good. We're coming up almost on the... no, we passed it. November was the 1-year anniversary of the horrible snowed in at a bookstore live stream. My God, that was horrible. What a day. What a terrible day. Sam says, what movie are you watching next? I really want to see... I want to see Knives Out again. I just picked up a movie here that I haven't seen. My wife and kids saw it in the theater. They all liked it. No, actually, no. The kids didn't go. Just my wife. Just my wife. But I didn't get to see this yet. Maleficent 2. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. I got to get to watching this because Christine saw it and I did not. There's also some movies that I missed that, people say are the best of the year. I haven't seen Parasite. People say that's like one of the best things of the year. I gotta see Parasite. Greg says, this will be the third time I've said this, but the Facebook episode of The Orville was great, original, timely, and more Star Trek than modern-day Star Trek could hope to be. Yeah, I gotta say, I felt that was a ripoff. I saw it, and I'm like, this is just the Meow Meow Beans episode of Community again. But Greg also says Roddenberry was a visionary, not a storyteller. I agree. I absolutely agree with that. Gene was the idea man, but there were better people who executed the idea. Connor says, what are my thoughts on The Golden Child with Eddie Murphy? It was an okay movie. I never loved it, but it was pretty good. Toaster Burner says The Outsider on HBO is very good. I've been hearing that. From work. One of my coworkers is a big fan. Sorry, I'm having trouble keeping up with the chat tonight. Joey says, is Will Smith better as a talking fish or a talking pigeon? Talking pigeon. I didn't like that fish movie. Connor says, have I read Trevorrow's episode 9 script? Connor, I have not read the script, but I read a synopsis on slashfilm.com. I was a fan of Rise of Skywalker. I really like Rise of Skywalker. My least favorite of the new trilogy, but I liked it. And after reading what Trevorrow's script was, I got to say, I wish Trevorrow had stuck around. Trevorrow's was better. Trevorrow's was much better than Rise of Skywalker. And I like Rise of Skywalker. I'm not throwing Rise of Skywalker under the bus. Trevorrow's was just better. One thing I have said since the day I walked out of Last Jedi. The day I walked out of Last Jedi, right up until I saw Rise of Skywalker, I said the episode 9 has to have the ghost of Luke haunting Kylo Ren. Because right before he disappeared in Last Jedi, he said, see you around, kid. And to me, that see you around, kid, was like a message. It was a, hey, I may be dead, but I'm going to be the Jiminy Cricket. I'm going to be the Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder. I'm going to be the little good angel on one shoulder, try to steer you in the right direction. That's what I heard when Luke said, "See you around, kid." That's exactly what I saw happening, and I said, "That's brilliant." We've never seen a Force ghost like haunting someone before, trying to set them on the right path. This is awesome. I can't wait to see where they go with this in Episode 9. Well, Rise of Skywalker went nowhere with that. But then it was in Trevorrow's script. Trevorrow's script had exactly the thing that I have been calling for since the day I walked out of Last Jedi. So yeah, no, I really wish Trevorrow's script had been the thing we got. It's a terrible shame. It's better. It's just better. But that said, I did like what we got. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Trevorrow's was just much better. Punk Nerd is here. He says, "Hi, Joe. How are you?" I'm good, Punk Nerd. How are you? Kevin Barry says, "Rian Johnson recorded a commentary for Knives Out that you can download and sync up at the theater. I would do a second viewing with that in mind." That's pretty cool. I'll have to look for that. Do you know where to find it? If you know where to find that commentary, let me know. I guess you could Google it. Punk Nerd says, "I watched Green Book in school yesterday. They let us skip periods 5 and 6 to watch it." Green Book. Oh, you know what? That's the one from last year. That was an Oscar film last year, right? Mahershala Ali. That was a good movie. You said Green Book, and I thought of the movie Green Room with Patrick Stewart, which is a horror film. Very different film. But that's where my head went when you said Green Book. I did like Green Book, though. That was good. James says, "Hey, Crazy Joe, ever seen Eek the Cat?" It is funny you should mention Eek the Cat, James. Yeah, I've seen Eek the Cat, but it was created by Savage Steve Holland, and just the other night we were showing my daughter clips from Better Off Dead, which obviously was directed by Savage Steve Holland. J2H is in the house. Joe, how goes it, good sir? Doing good, J2H. You and I do have to record a podcast one of these days. We got to record a podcast, and I think we should do Best of the Year. I did Top 5 of the Year with Serial at Midnight recently, and I want to do it on the podcast with J2H. My Top 5 is not going to change. If you've seen that video, you already know what my Top 5 is. It's not going to change. But a different person makes for a different conversation. So the conversation about those 5 films won't be the same. So I think it'll be compelling, even though I'm giving you the same 5 movies I already gave you before. Joey Baseball says, "What does your shirt say?" It says, "New Monkeys." New Monkeys. This was the revival of the Monkeys in 1987 with 4 different guys, Larry, Marty, Dino, and Jared, 2 of which, Dino and Marty, have been guests on Megapodtastic, the podcast, and you can find a video of the interview with them right on this YouTube channel. Joey says, "Why are there no comments on your popcorn bucket video? I left a comment." Did you now? I thought it was odd that there were no comments on that video. I wonder if somehow it went to spam. I'll have to check. Unfortunately, I can't check now because the phone is recording this and the iPad is giving me the chat. Let me make a note of that. Check comments. There was another video I did recently that had no comments, like none whatsoever, and I thought that was odd. I'm like, wow, nobody commented on that. Like, nobody said a word. Nothing. I thought it was odd. I don't remember which video it was off the top of my head, but I did think it was very strange that not a single person commented. I should check the spam filter and see if there's something in there. But I didn't even get a notification. Backwin says, "I'm so happy Joker's been nominated for 11 awards. It was such a fantastic film." I agree. I enjoyed it. Trashboat says, "Do I think Joker will win the 4 major categories?" I don't think it'll win all 4. It'll probably win something. I think Joaquin Phoenix will win for Best Actor. J2H says, "Watched the collab with Serial at Midnight. Loved it." Let me tell you, Heath is one heck of a guy. Great guy. Great guy. We have a lot in common. We see the world similarly. Punk Nerd says, how did I meet Serial at Midnight? Well, it's really quite simple. It's, excuse me, I need some water. Our good friends, Joe and Marie, Martinez Joe and Marie, they put Heath Serial at Midnight on my radar. I was not aware of him. I had never heard of his channel, and Marie is in the chat right now. They brought him to my attention, and and Joe said, "Oh, you should check this guy out. You and he are very similar. I think you guys would get along great." So I started watching his stuff, and sure enough, yeah, I'm like, wow, this guy, he's really good. So I reached out to him the first time at Dragon Con because Martinez Joe was under the mistaken impression that he was going to be at Dragon Con. He was not. He was not at Dragon Con. But Martinez Joe thought he was and sent me a message saying, hey, Serial at Midnight is at Dragon Con. You should get together with him and shoot a video. So I shot him off a message on Instagram, said, hey, I hear you're at Dragon Con. Let's get together, shoot a video. And he wrote back, I'm sorry, you heard wrong. I'm not at Dragon Con. I wish I was, though. And then just ever since then, we were online buddies, you know, Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, so then, yeah, but Marie and Joe are the ones who kind of, I think, put each of us onto each other's radar. But I really like the guy. He's just a great guy all around. Geriatric says, check your settings in YouTube also, Joe. For the, I'm guessing you mean for the comments going to spam. I will have to check that. I do have filters for certain words. If you used certain words of profanity, it does automatically go to spam because I try to keep it clean. So that could be it. I will have to, I'll double check. After this live stream, I will check. Let's see. Aubrey says there's still no comments on the vid. Yeah. I wish I could remember what the other video that had no comments was. I thought it was so weird. I even sent a text to Rick. I'm like, this video's been up for 2 weeks and nobody's commented on it, yet it's had X number of views. It just seemed very weird to me. Bohemian says, I know this is wrestling news, but Rocky Johnson has passed away. Is that The Rock's father? Isn't that The Rock's father, Rocky Johnson? That's a shame. James says, ever watched Zarna Zarek? I like his Multimedia Chronicles series. I'm sorry, I haven't seen that. I'm not familiar with it. Marie says, I left a comment too. Jay had to change his settings on one of the videos. Forgot to mention you have to go to settings or something. It's weird. I'll look at it. I'll try to see what's going on there. Sam says, least favorite movie of all time. That would probably be Southland Tales. Man, do I hate Southland Tales. I was painful. That was a painful movie. That pained me. Wow, I hate that movie. So anyway, I'm sorry. I'm now lost in thought about how much I hate that movie. Aubrey says, have you ever seen Minty Comedic Arts on YouTube? His content's really interesting and an Aussie. I have not seen him. You know, there's something I want to get off my chest. And something I want to get off my chest that I really debated whether I should say anything about this. But I find it so rude and so hypocritical that I feel like I gotta say something. Now, you guys know me. I'm never one to... a lot of times I talk about YouTube channels I don't like, that I think are disingenuous, that I think say things that are disingenuous, and I always say, I'm not going to say their names. I'm not going to say their names because I don't want to call attention to them. I don't want to draw traffic to them because I think they're horrible. So usually I'm not like the guy who comes in here, guns blazing, going after other YouTubers. But this was just so rude that it's been eating at me for days. There's a channel on YouTube that I was a fan of. I really liked it. I subscribed to them. I met them. I met them in person. I met the hosts of the channel in person, got a picture with them. I met them at Dragon Con, just in passing. They were going by, say, hey, can I get a picture? I attended their panels at Dragon Con. I thought they were a great channel. And I'm not going to be watching them again. It's a channel called Retro Blasting. Have any of you heard of the channel Retro Blasting? It's mainly toy focused, action figures. Collecting old '80s toys. They do some bits on old '80s cartoons, and I really, really liked their content. But the other day, Retro Blasting, or maybe about a week ago, they put up a video called "Canon is Overrated." And it was basically one of the two hosts. The hosts are Michael and Melinda. Like I said, I've met them both. I thought they were very nice in person. But Michael basically was going off on just a tear about Disney Star Wars fans of the new trilogy, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. He hates them. He hates those movies, which is fine. As I always say on this channel, art is subjective. You like what you like. You don't like what you don't like. He doesn't like those movies. I like those movies quite a bit. But in his video, he made blanket statements. And one of his chief arguments was that people who like the Disney movies will accept anything. They like anything. And he kept saying that you're down for anything. You'll take anything. If you like this, you'll take anything. And he kept saying that. And I'm sitting there listening to him. Again, I got no problem you don't like these movies. It's fine. But I'm sitting there listening and I'm thinking, well, that's not true. Because I'm not crazy about the prequels. And I don't like the expanded universe. The expanded universe, I read several of those novels. I didn't care for them. I stopped reading them because I'm like, I don't think these are good. The Timothy Zahn trilogy from Star Wars, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, a lot of people put them up on a pedestal, think they're great. I don't like them. I read them. I read them twice because people praised them so much. I'm like, I must have missed something. I read them again. I don't like them. I started watching the Clone Wars animated series. I bailed because I didn't like it. Heard it got better. Heard it got much better. I got to tune in someday, watch it on Disney Plus. But I bailed because I didn't like it. So to prove it, there you go. There's three things: the prequels, the Clone Wars animated series, the expanded universe novels. There's three things Star Wars that I didn't like. So this notion that if you like the new movies, you'll like anything, it's not true. It's not accurate. So like I said, I'm a fan of his channel, and I wrote an email because I had been trying to get them as guests on the podcast. I talked to them about it before. I said, "Hey, why don't you come on the podcast?" They had indicated that they would be interested previously. So I wrote to him. Here's the thing: he ends the video after going on this tear about Disney Star Wars fans and you'll take anything, you'll accept anything, blah 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 blah. He then ends the video by saying, "Why not try being friends with someone who has a different opinion than you? I dare you." That's how he ends it with that line. Try being friends with someone who has a different opinion than you. I dare you. So I thought to myself, well, okay, I've been trying to have them on the show anyway. I like them. I like their content. I wrote them an email, friendly as can be. Nice, friendly, polite. And I said, hey, saw your new video. I got to say, I disagree with you on a few things. For example, you say that you think that the Disney Star Wars fans will accept anything. But that's not true for me. I mean, I like these movies, but I don't like this and this and this. And I said, and also some of your points where you poked holes in the movies and said, well, this is a problem, and this is a problem, and this is a problem. Those problems, and this is factual. I said, those things that you pointed out exist in the original trilogy. Those are there too. So I said, but I agree with you. At the end, you said, like be friends with people with different opinion. I agree. On my channel, I always say art's subjective. Some people like some things, some people like other things. That's all well and good, and we should all be friends and discuss film. What we like, what we don't like. It's all fair. I said, and we talked about previously you coming on my channel. I'd still love to have you. 20 minutes passed, and I got the nastiest response. It was just rude. It was just so rude. Basically, the whole be friends with people you don't agree with. He said, I dare you. He failed his own dare. He failed his own dare. He could not be friends with someone he didn't agree with. He couldn't do it. He went on telling me how the new movies are nothing but trash. You're free to like that trash if you want. But then he was going on about, you say you don't like the Timothy Zahn novels. I like those novels, And I'm like, I think you missed the point. I said I didn't like those novels because I was trying to show you that I don't like just anything. Like you said, you like anything. I don't like just anything. So I pointed out something I don't like, and you're like taking offense now that I said I don't like that thing. And it just was just the nastiest email. And then he said that I was trying to defend the Disney movies by poking holes and bringing down truly great movies. I pointed out things that were legitimately in those movies. They were there. I didn't make it up. They're there. So it's not like I made up that these things are there. They are there. It's just for some reason you choose to ignore them in this movie, and then you get mad at this movie for having it. And the whole argument really didn't make any sense because the whole argument didn't make sense because he called it poking holes. He's like, you're poking holes in these movies. And I'm like, no, really, I'm not. I'm not poking holes because I just said this didn't bother me. And it doesn't bother me here. It doesn't bother me here, and it doesn't bother me here. I didn't say, well, it bothered me here, but I'm going to justify it because it was here. Like, it's not finding fault with the old movies if you don't find fault. And I don't find fault. Like, it was things like he said in Force Awakens, he's like, well, Force Ghosts can now interact with physical environments and nobody cares. And it's like, yeah, but in Return of the Jedi, the Force Ghost of Obi-Wan sat on a log. He interacted with a physical environment in Return of the Jedi. It happened. I'm not poking holes in Return of the Jedi because it didn't bother me. I was fine with it. He said, you guys don't care that they don't explain how the First Order came to power. And I said, but they didn't explain how the Empire came to power in A New Hope. Eventually they did in the prequels. We had to wait 19 years for that. But for 19 years, people were just okay with, well, the Empire came to power. We didn't know how. But you were all right with it. You didn't say, how'd that happen? I demand an explanation. But now it happens here, and you're like, I demand an explanation. Well, I'm not poking holes on this. This actually happened. And it didn't bother me. So it's not poking holes because I'm okay with it. I'm not bothered by it. I'm not bothered by this. I'm not bothered by this. So it was just so rude, and it was so hypocritical because he ends that video by saying, be friends. Try being friends with someone who has a difference of opinion. And his idea of being friends is coming after me, like, because I dared to, question anything he said there. And again, I wasn't rude. I didn't go after him. I was very polite in my email. I was inviting him on my show. I was inviting him here. So I won't be watching his channel anymore. And I'm sorry to get negative. I don't like to get negative, but it's really bothered me how incredibly rude he was and how disingenuous that whole be friends with people who disagree with you thing was. Like, why would you say that in a video and then go after the next guy who tries to do what you said and be friends with you? I don't know. The whole thing bothers me, and it's been eating at me. And I really debated whether I should say anything, but it just bothers me too much not to say anything. James says, just because I like something people hate does not mean I'm easily entertained. Everybody has plenty of standards, plus I like the sequel trilogy. I agree with you, James. Aubrey says, wow, he sounds like a straight up hypocrite. Yeah, it was hypocritical. It was, yeah, be friends with someone who disagrees with you. I disagree with you. Well, F you. That's hypocrisy. I was such a fan of his channel. That's the thing. Like, he does such good work, like putting his videos, his toy videos, so good. But his personality, now, it's like, now that I've seen behind the curtain, I'm like, I can't even watch your stuff anymore because I think you are, maybe I caught him on a bad day. I don't know, but he's got my email address. He didn't write back and apologize. It's been days. Anyway, Joey says, you want me to send Maury after retro blasting? He'll handle them. I wouldn't subject Jack Maury to that. They're too nasty over there. Anyway, Greg says, don't worry about that channel. Just watch mine instead. Absolutely. Absolutely, Greg. Everyone should be watching Greg's channel. It's a great channel. Except you always go live, Greg. You always go live, like right when I'm trying to do something with the kids. So it's like I come in and go, hey, how you doing? Then I have to get out because I'm dealing with the kids. Anyway, Backwin says, I have no problem with people who have different opinion than me. Even though I don't care for the Disney trilogy, I won't attack or insult anyone who likes them. It's their opinion. Exactly. That's how I feel. It's really sad that people act pretentious over someone who has a different opinion, especially if the channel got a lot of fans. And I thought Jake Paul is bad. That's the guy who was like taking pictures with like corpses, wasn't it? Joey says, you and Cereal at Midnight had horrible choices. The 5 best of the year were Toy Story 4. Toy Story 4 was all 5? Toy Story 4 was great, but it would probably be my top 10. If I went a full 10, Toy Story 4 would probably be there. Let's see. Trashboat says, I'd say sitting on a log is less interacting with something than you see in ROS. Is that Rise of Skywalker? Maybe. Donnie says, I'm not a fan of Tarantino. I like a couple, but I commented on Facebook group that I thought his movies are out there, and so many people started bashing my taste. These are weird times, man. People can't handle. They can't handle a difference of opinion. They just can't. And sometimes I wonder if it means that they're so insecure in their own opinion that they're afraid you might change their mind. It's the only thing I can come up with. Like, if you have faith in your opinion, then you can hear another opinion, and also I don't mind if someone changes my mind. Like if you can convince me that this is, if I saw a movie that I hated and you tell me it's really good, and if you can sell me on it, great. That's great. Terrific. But anyway. David says, Joe, would you accept his apology? Totally. I don't think he's going to apologize, though. I doubt it. He's got my email address. If he wants to apologize, he's got my email address. But, yeah, no, I'm forgiving. Maybe he was having a bad day. But again, it's been several days. I haven't heard a word since. Jim says, Sam says, arguing about films is part of liking film and can be fun. I agree so much. Sometimes it's fun to have someone who has a different opinion on. Joe Hannes. I love Joe Hannes. Great guy. But Joe Hannes has very different opinions than me. His taste in film and mine are very different. So sometimes when he's on the podcast, I love it because he brings a completely different perspective. I think it's great. James says, actually, Logan was the one who did the distasteful thing, but I hate his brother too. Logan? Wolverine? Movie Hunter says, Picard? Excited? Yes, I am. I'm very excited for Picard. I can't wait. I'm actually a little more excited for Discovery Season 3, only because where they left Discovery leads to so many questions, and I want to see how they're going to answer those questions. But yeah, no, I'm definitely excited for Picard. Trashboat says, I thought the ending of the new Tarantino was terrible, and I basically had to turn in my movie fan license. I want to ask what part of the ending, but I also don't want to spoil it in case someone hasn't seen the movie. I Want My Sauce says, Joe is a huge Star Trek fan. Has there ever been feet shown on Star Trek? Because a Tarantino Star Trek would have had a lot of feet in it. Well, Crewman Dax in Star Trek VI, we saw Crewman Dax's feet. Not to be confused with Jadzia Dax. Crewman Dax was an alien who had big, weird, funky feet because they found gravity boots in his locker, and Chekhov said, if the shoe fits, wear it, and threw the boots at him. And then we saw his feet, and his feet couldn't have possibly fit in the boots because they were big, weird alien feet. Sam says, let's change the subject. Movie Geppetto with Drew Carey and Wayne Brady. I've never seen it. Joey says, who should play Jim Henson in a biopic? Well, it's got to be Tom Hanks, doesn't it? He gets everything. It's always Tom Hanks. I don't know. I really don't know. That's really a tough question. It would be hard to find someone who could pull it off, quite frankly. Sam says he posted that video 2 weeks ago. Who did? What are we talking about? I apologize. I lost track of the conversation. J2H says, that's why Rick and I get along so well. We have very different opinions, but respect each other's, even if he's wrong more often than not. Rick's usually wrong when it comes to movies. I love Rick. But, Rick also has, I love Rick, but he's got a little bit of that in him, too, where sometimes he's not willing to concede that film is subjective. And he has this attitude that, nope, this is the way it is. Because I remember when I saw the movie The Dead Don't Die, he didn't like The Dead Don't Die. I liked it a lot. But I said coming out, I can see why some people wouldn't like it. The kind of humor in that movie is very dry, very deadpan. It's not for all tastes. And I said that to Rick, and he was like, nope, hot trash. And I'm like, all right, what are we going to do with you, man? What are we going to do with you? It's subjective. It's subjective. Joey Baseball says, Joe, I did the craziest thing over the weekend. Something very out of character for me. I bought a Bob Ross action figure set for $30. I didn't even know they made Bob Ross action figures. So that's news to me. Let's see. See side conversations. Where are we on this? Aubrey says Rick and his love of La La Land. I've still never seen La La Land. My wife, Christine, huge fan of musicals. She didn't like La La Land. She thought the music was too, what's the word? She didn't think it was like a worthy musical because the actors singing it were not singers. And she thought the music was written for people who couldn't sing really. It wasn't written to show off any kind of vocal range because Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone aren't singers. So they don't really have that kind of a powerful voice. So she thought the music was a letdown. But Rick thinks it's like one of the best movies ever made. Donnie says, I'm scared Picard will not be at all what I'm wanting. I'm thinking it's going to be political and more artsy than previous Star Trek spinoffs. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a lot like Logan. I think we're going to see something like Logan where the old guard comes back to go on one more mission. Greg says Adam the Woo should be Jim Henson. I could get behind that. Would Adam do it? You think he'd be interested? Trashboat said, you recently said you don't care for Jared Leto. Have you seen Blade Runner 2049? It's a revelation how much of a genius he is. I actually walked out of Blade Runner 2049. I really did not like that movie. I didn't think it was very good. I know a lot of people really liked it, but I walked out of it. James says, did you know that Hulk Hogan had a cartoon series in the 80s? Did I ever? Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling. CBS Saturday mornings. Yes. And it was, what's the actor's name? Everybody loves Raymond. Raymond's brother. Raymond's brother was the voice of Hulk Hogan on that show. Yes, I liked that show. James says, all right, side conversation. Chris Fiore? Who's that? Chris Fiore says, sometimes it's hard to understand tone through emails. Any chance you both read each other's emails harsher than they were? Well, I guess anything's possible. For those who don't know, that's my brother. My brother is in the live chat today. Welcome, Chris. You didn't respond to any of my texts today. I sent you several texts today. You didn't respond to a single one of them. Sam says Retro Blasting posted that video 2 weeks ago. Yeah, that's probably right. I just saw it the other day, though. Like, I sent the email. I think it was Friday. Friday was when this email exchange happened. Lisa says, not who I was thinking of, but I just saw someone do a picture double if Paul Rudd as Jim Henson and David Cross as Frank Oz. That would be interesting. Paul Rudd can do anything, though. Let's face it. Paul Rudd, there's nothing that guy can't do. Greg says, BR 2049 is long and boring, but it's a masterpiece. Fair enough. Fair enough. Joey says, whenever Rick, a.k.a. Big Sexy. Hey, I'm Big Sexy. Rick is not Big Sexy. Big Sexy's my nickname. Big Sexy's been my nickname for years. Rick could be Little Sexy. I don't know. I'm taller than he is. Whenever Rick says a movie is not good, just remind him that La La Land won the Oscar for 2 minutes. Back When Forever says, besides Blade Runner 2049, has there ever been any movies that were so bad you left the theater? Sound of Thunder. The movie A Sound of Thunder was one I left the theater on. Another one was Valerian. Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets. I hated that movie. And basically I left about 20 minutes before the end. Because I said to myself, is there anything that could possibly happen in 20 minutes that's going to redeem this? And I racked my brain and thought, nope, I can't imagine anything that's going to redeem this movie in 20 minutes. So I left. But just to be sure, I later on looked up the ending on Wikipedia and said, oh yeah, I was right. That movie wasn't going to be redeemed. Yeah, I hated Valerian too. Backwind says, no, I already read that one. Sorry. James says, ever seen the Charlie Brown and Snoopy show? It's a great Peanuts cartoon. Wow, James, it is so funny you should say that. We've just been watching the Charlie Brown and Snoopy show a lot around this house recently because my daughter just got an interest in Charlie Brown and Snoopy. So I got that cartoon out for her because it's something that, you know, we got a lot of the specials and everything, but, you know, it's not holiday specific, so we could just put it on and it's, you know. But yeah, we just watched, like, I think every episode of the Charlie Brown and Snoopy show. J2H says, Brad Garrett. That was the name of Raymond's brother. Brad Garrett. He was the voice of Hulk Hogan. I also think he would be great if he were Herman Munster and Mel Brooks was Grandpa. Could you imagine that? Brad Garrett is Herman and Mel Brooks is Grandpa. That would be perfect. Reptile Dude says, Joe, watched your Morbius video today, and I'm like you, I'm actually a little excited. I got to tell you, two of the biggest surprises the last couple of weeks have been the New Mutants and Morbius. I think a lot of us assumed the New Mutants was going to be terrible because it kept getting pushed back. But my God, the last trailer was good. And we're hearing buzz from the studio that it's actually pretty good. It looks like the movie was not bad. This is what it looks like. I don't know. We'll see the movie in April. Maybe it's bad. I don't know. But it's starting to look like maybe the movie wasn't bad. It was just a victim of timing because of the Disney buyout. And Disney and Fox weren't quite sure what to do with it. It looks like that might be the case because we're starting to hear positive buzz about it from behind the scenes. We're starting to hear Disney has faith in it. We're starting to hear there's rumors that it might be incorporated into the MCU. So Feige apparently has some faith in it. I don't know. It's looking like New Mutants might be quite a surprise. So that was, we got that. And then Morbius. Who was looking forward to Morbius? I wasn't looking forward to Morbius. This trailer changed the story. I'm excited for Morbius now. I can't wait to see it. Trashboat says, I'm not much into the comic side of Marvel. Could Morbius be used to introduce Blade into the MCU? Trashboat, I want to say no. I want to say no for a very special reason. But here's the thing. Who knows? Who knows what's going on right now? Who knows what kind of a contract Marvel and Sony signed when they re-upped to the Spider-Man deal? Because it used to be that, from everything we've been told, Morbius was a Sony film that Kevin Feige and Disney were going to have no hand in, completely Sony. So a character that Marvel owns like Blade, you would think couldn't appear in that movie. But now we're seeing it's tying into Far From Home. So who knows at this point? It's possible. My brother says, how bad is Charlie Brown if the other kids don't want to hang out with him, but they put up with Pigpen? Wow, that is accurate. Pigpen is accepted. Charlie Brown is not. James says, did I know MC Hammer had a cartoon? Yes, it was called Hammerman. He had magic shoes in it. Just a reminder, we're going to end the stream soon, and we haven't heard from Super Chad Hippo tonight. If you'd like to hear from Super Chad Hippo, he's got things to say tonight. So, but we are going to be ending this stream pretty soon because I hear Oreo freaking up outside. Upstairs, I hear him freaking out, and I got to go tend to him before he drives my wife crazy. Let's read a few more questions before I get going. Donnie says, I was so happy over the weekend. I got my girls watching Pink Panther cartoons on YouTube. Oh, I love Pink Panther cartoons. Used to watch those before school about 30 years ago. Yeah, I totally love the Pink Panther cartoons. What are you doing, Oreo? The dog is freaking out. The dog is freaking out, man. Sam says, Brad Garrett is a rude person, went to a stand-up back in the day, and he said that since we weren't laughing, that we suck and we're all boring old people. We did get our money back. Wow, that is rude. You should be on retro blasting. I kid. Anyway. Joey says, I feel like I'm the only one who found Joker boring. I certainly did not find Joker boring. I gotta say that. Trashboat says, did I enjoy the Peanuts CG film from 2 years ago? I did, very much so. I didn't think the Peanuts characters would translate well to CG, but they really did, I gotta say. Connor says, did I like the new Harley Quinn trailer? Yes. I'm very anxious for the movie. And, man, I got things I want to say. I got things I want to say about what happened on Crisis last night. But I can't. I can't say it in case any of you haven't seen it. I don't want to be the one. I'm not going to be the one to spoil it for you. Someone's going to spoil it for you. What? My super chat from my brother. Thank you, Chris. He says, let's hear the hippo. Super chat hippo. Thanks you. Would anyone else like to hear the hippo? Thank you, Chris. Connor says, did you like the new Harley? Oh, I read that already. James says, hey, Crazy Joe, ever seen the Rankin Bass specials? Of course. Man, they are big in this house. We're very popular. I had the Rankin and Bass historian as a guest on the podcast once. And I'm sorry to say his name escapes me at the moment. He wrote a great book, though. Geez. He was a guest on the podcast. I can't remember his name. Just was talking to him at Dragon Con. Nice guy, though. Nice guy. James says, keep wearing those pajamas, Joe. Thank you, James. You keep wearing yours. I'm already wearing mine. Backwood says, Sid Cinema Sickness has a huge crush on Laura Dern. Who's your celebrity crush? Patty Jenkins. Sam Haskell says, good night, Joe. Tuffy says, everyone give this a like. Oh, thank you, Tuffy. Yes, everyone give this a like. That would be great. And as always, it is my goal, it is my dream to hit 2,000 subscribers by my birthday, which is March 21st. So please, 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 yeah, my videos, if you see something you like, please share it. Share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, wherever. If you know someone who would like the content we have here that has maybe never seen the show, Please tell them about it. Lisa says, "Do I go to Dragon Con every year?" I would like to. I would like to, but no, we can't. We will not be at Dragon Con 2020, unfortunately, because of some money issues. But 2021, the plan is that I will be there 2021, and I'm very disappointed I'm missing 2020, quite frankly. But it is what it is. Brandon says, "Did I see the new Thundercats roar?" Definitely not my Thundercats. Yeah, it doesn't look very good, does it? It does not look very good. E.T. says, "Good night, Joe." Thank you, E.T. Good night to you. Last chance to hear from the hippo. Would you like the hippo to wish you a good night? It's a good hippo. That's a good hippo. Pug Nerd says, "Emma Watson." Emma Watson. All right, guys, I am going to wrap this up. So thank you. Oh, my God. Mustang Man with $5. Thank you, Mustang Man. Super Chat Hippo thanks you. Give him another one, Hippo. Thank you. Thank you, Mustang Man. He says, "Hey, Crazy Joe, what are your thoughts on the Back to the Future animated series?" Oh, I wish I liked it. I want to like it. I love Back to the Future, so I really, really want to like it, but I don't like it. Too much focus on the kids. Too much focus on, I don't know. It doesn't feel like Back to the Future to me. It just doesn't have that feel. It's like the DeLorean could go to any time or place. I wish I liked it. I want to like it, but I don't. What do you think? Are you a fan? Is anyone a fan of the animated series? I'm curious. I don't know that I've really met any big fans. Marie says, "Yes, Joe has great content. We just hit 400 thanks to people getting the word out. Keep chugging, Joe." Thank you. And guys, check out the Martinez Joe channel with Marie. Marie's on the Martinez Joe channel. Check it out. It's a channel worth watching. They're really good, and they're good people too. I can't wait till you guys come to town in was it May? I don't know. I have it on the calendar. I don't have it up here, but I have it on the calendar. But we look forward to it. Trashboat said, "I thought you would say John P. Navin Jr. for Celebrity Crush." If anyone knows John P. Navin Jr., tell him I'd love to have him here on the live stream. If anyone. Joey Baseball says, "Garfield and Friends is my favorite 80s cartoon." My daughter just got hooked on that. We bought her the DVDs. She loves it. All right, this is going to be the last question for the night. And Mustang Man is a fan. He says he does like the Back to the Future cartoon. I'm sorry, Mustang Man. I wish I liked it. I want to like it. It pains me that I don't like it because it's more Back to the Future content. And if I liked it, it's more Back to the Future. But this is the last question I'm going to answer. It comes from Greg's Game Room. He says, "Not much new on Matrix 4. Thoughts?" I got to say, I am not excited about Matrix 4. I'm not excited at all. Like, not even a little bit. I hated The Matrix Reloaded. I love The Matrix. Let's get that straight. I like the first Matrix a lot. Great movie. But I hated Matrix Reloaded. I did not like Matrix Revolutions. I did not like Jupiter Rising. I did not like, what was the other one they did? Basically, I haven't liked anything the Wachowskis have done since Speed Racer. Speed Racer was pretty good. But I haven't liked anything they've done since Speed Racer. So I got to say, I think that the Wachowskis are... I like The Matrix, and I like Speed Racer, but generally speaking, I haven't liked most of what they've done. The majority of what they've done, I have not liked. So when I heard that, is it Lana Wachowski? One of the Wachowskis, not both of them. One of them, I think it's Lana, was coming back and was going to do Matrix 4. I was like, well, that doesn't make me anxious to see it. If someone completely different was doing it, like if you told me like, I don't know, David Fincher is doing the Matrix 4, I would be like, oh, well, you got my attention there. Now I'm interested. Or Matt Reeves is doing the Matrix 4. Ooh, okay. I'm curious to see what he does with it. But hearing that the same people who made the two sequels that I hated are coming back to make another sequel, yeah, I'm not excited. Brandon says more excited for John Wick 4 than Matrix 4. I'm right there with you, Brandon. I'm more excited for John Wick 4 too. All right, guys. I'm going to end it here. Thank you for watching. and keep on wearing those pajamas.